Hey everybody, an unobtainable audio. Let's try this again. An unobtainable, okay, take three. An unobtainium Audible called today on Barber Dave Shaves and Such for a Monday. See you in a minute. Hey everybody, welcome to Monday, as you saw in the intro. So we called an audible today. We were going to be doing Victory Shaving Company and some of their other stuff, but I was digging through the soap locker and I found something that is really unobtainable. God. And people loved it. And unfortunately, you can't find it hardly at all anymore, if you can on the secondary market. And this is a shave stick today. So believe it or not, we're going to be using Palmolive shave stick. So this is going to be kind of a retro shave. I do have Barber Errand Day today, so we are going to be doing a DE shave, but it's going to be kind of retro with the razor and the aftershave. But then we're going to get classy when we get to the fragrance. So let's get started. So I'm glad you guys are enjoying the Unobtainium series. So here is the Palmolive shave stick. And for those of you that have never used a shave stick before, you wet your face and you do this. These are great for travel, as I've mentioned before when I've used this. And all you do is you just spread the soap and push it into your follicles. And you can use as much or as little as you want. Wet it again if you need to. And then that's it. So that puts a coating on the face. Then you take your brush. And just start face lathering. This has got a very light green fragrance. It's got palm extract in it, so it's really nice. But as you can see, it builds pretty quick. You don't want to add water too quickly, or you'll blow it out. And I would start with a relatively dryish or damp brush, because as you can see, there's already a lot of moisture in there. And then I'll add just a little bit of water, just to build the ladder up just a little bit to get slick. And then maybe just a little bit more. And the brush I'm using is probably got one of the largest synthetic knots that I've ever seen. And we'll go over that at the end of the shave. The razor we're using today, it's got a Persona Lab Blue in it. We're using a Gillette President. There's the retro part of it. And believe it or not, for just kind of a standard Gillette DE, it's reasonably aggressive. And as most of you that follow the channel know, for whatever reason, I seem to cut myself more with a DE than I do a straight razor, which is funny. But this is a very smooth razor, fun to use. And I've got it, as you saw in the picture, I've got it in the original case. This was an NOS. It had never been used, and it was given to me by one of my barbershop clients because he just didn't like it. It was given to him. I think he tried it once, and he had it sitting around, and he knew that I collect, and he thought it would be a great thing to have, and I've loved it. I don't use it that often. But what's neat about the case is it's, I'll show it at the end of the shave, kind of a velvet lined case. I don't have the original blade. Oh, well, I did have the original blades that came with it. I have no idea where I put them. But it's got a unique stingray skin case. So I don't know I did some research. I couldn't find very much on it other than the fact that the case was kind of a deluxe case. So I don't know if it's considered a President Deluxe. I don't know much about the exact models of Gillette razors that much, but it's a fun little razor to use. It's got a nice handle on it, twist to open. But one of the more aggressive twist to open safety bar razors that I own. And I probably have a tendency to dive right into the shave and not pay attention as much to my situational awareness as I do with a straight razor, which probably caused part of the reason why some DEs have a tendency to reach out and kiss me, because I'm just not paying attention because I'm stupid. And that's the inherent problem, as I've said 1,000 times. As you get to a point when you've been traditional shaving for such a long period of time that you feel that, oh, I'm not going to get cut, or I know exactly what I'm doing. And that's when it reaches out and decides to say, no, I'm in charge, not you. Real interesting discussion from one of our new members on the cadre regarding DE blades. And in his mind, there's not a lot of difference between blades. I did write something on there that, which is true, because some guys are saying, oh no, I can only use a blade 5 or 6 times, and then I have to switch it out, and there's certain blades that don't. And that's all true. It's really a personal choice on DE blades. I searched through tons over the years, and I finally settled on the Persona Lab Blue because that's what fits my face. But there's a lot of factors that go involved. I won't get into it here. If you want to check it out, you can check out that thread on the forum. And while you're at it, if you haven't joined, come and see us, www.theshavingcadre.com. We do feel we are the finest gentlemanly forum that concentrates on shaving, but has a plethora of other things. And yes, I said plethora, Hefe. And so come check that forum out. It's free to join, self-moderated, and I think you have a good time. Also, don't forget Drinks and Dave's tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Pacific. And I'm sure we're going to be talking about Dave's cruise. And then, of course, Rocks and Roads on YouTube. And I think if everything goes correctly today with Barbara Aaron Day, I may do a video on the trail. It's called the Tucson Wash. A lot of nice historic things. It's near a mining area. And pretty mellow trail, mostly washes. But there's a couple of hill climbs and a couple of rock waterfalls that are mellow. And I might do that this afternoon, time permitting. If not, it'll probably be next week. So come check out Rocks and Roads if you would. And subscribe, we'd appreciate that. Where DEs catch me sometimes if I'm not paying attention is when I'm doing this fool's pass. And if I don't mark out exactly where the top of my lip is, and I catch the blade on my lip. And for anybody who's ever cut their lip shaving, it don't stop. I mean, it takes an act of God to get it to stop. Very nice shave today. A couple of problem spots in here and here, and then on my neck as always. So we'll do a little bit of buffing and J-hooking. And if you are going to do J-hooking when you're doing your buffing, make sure that blade's in motion before you make that turn, or you will end up with a nice little cut. And it doesn't matter whether it's a D or an SE or a straight. Well, you're not going to be doing J-hooking with a straight unless you're crazy. All right. There's a little bit of soap on the brush left, so I'll do a quick, just to double check that I didn't miss anything. As I said, this is a very light fragranced soap, so you can use literally any aftershave and fragrance and still be matching. Okay, let's see what the alum says. Then we'll get cleaned up and we'll show you everything. Nada, zero, zilch. Good stuff. All right, let's get cleaned up and we'll show you everything we did. So if you haven't gotten shave sticks yet, great travel option. There's plenty out there. La Toja makes one. Arco makes one. Or, believe it or not, you can make your own. Take your favorite soap, get an old deodorant container, grate the soap up, press it in, and boom, you have a shave stick. Makes it a lot easier for travel. It really does. And like I said, I keep my face moist or wet or damp, I guess would be the best way when I put my witch hazel on, especially the Quins. And we're going to be using Quins, cucumber, and mint, and it has been transferred into this spray bottle. We'll let that dry down for a minute while we're talking about all the stuff. Okay, so for our razor today, for today's shave, we did use a Gillette President, pretty much unobtainium. I'm not sure you can find them on the secondary market. But I was talking about the Stingray case, and that's this one right here. In pretty good shape. It collects some dust because I keep it out here. But it's got a really nice case to keep it in, and it's got a place for the blades, although I have no idea where I put the blades. It just sticks up there. For the brush today, we used a Teton Shaves. I don't have my glasses on. Teton Shaves, and I call this the Gold Rush brush. I'm not sure if it has a name, and that's got a 2-band synthetic. It doesn't feel like an AMAC, but it's a huge, huge brush. But a fun brush to use. Okay, and for the aftershave, you can still get this in your local 5 and dime or drugstore, whichever you prefer to call it. It's not in the glass bottles anymore. I'm still trying to find a glass bottle for this, as I've done with my Aqua Velva stuff. But Skin Bracer. If you remember the commercials, if you're old enough to remember the commercials for Skin Bracer, they were hilarious because they would slap the hell out of their face. I mean, basically, they would do that. But it's a old school barbershop, has a nice bright start, and then it dries down to a very, very powdery finish. It does have menthol in it, so the Skin Bracer thing, it smacks you pretty good. In fact, I would compare Skin Bracer to just a little bit less of a menthol hit than Osage Rub. Which is great in the summer times. Anyhow, Skin Bracer. Again, for the soap, we use the Palmolive shave stick. If you can find them on the secondary market, buy them. I've got 3 or 4 of these in reserve, and they store well. They travel fantastic, and they're easy. You know, you wet your face, you rub it around on your face, you lather, and you're good to go. So again, Palmolive. Again, with the old retro theme, we're sticking with Clubman today for our talc as we get ready to fight the traffic and the snowbirds that are back as we go out on Barber Errand Day. And then I did tell you we were going to class it up as far as the fragrance after using basically drugstore stuff for a shave. This is one of my favorite, and this is unobtainium. You cannot find this, so I'm very sparingly with this. And this is Florist, which is one of my favorite fragrance houses, and it's 1962. This has got a very nice spearmint positivity note to it that makes it just absolutely just wonderful. So again, great fragrance. Well, that's it for today, folks. I certainly appreciate it. Kind of a quick shave for today. We'll get back to some other stuff. There's a possibility I may, since I did the Palmolive today, I may use an old Colgate shave soap puck, or we may go back to the Victory Shaving Company because I have a bunch of his stuff. Anyhow, I'm Barber Dave. This has been Barber Dave Shaves and Such. Hope you have a wonderful Monday, and I'm glad you enjoyed the show. Take care.